What's up? So today we will be doing the 100, the seventh and final season. Wow, we are on the final season of the 100, and it's been a while back. As I do with all my final seasons, I talk about how it's a very good show, and how it's basically, yeah. Hopefully they make. I want a prequel. I want a show to get a prequel. Get on Jason Rothenberg. Make a sequel. Make a prequel about the Ark, please. So, anyway, yeah, this show is very good. So let's just get into the first episode. So this episode starts off with where the last season left off with some random woman spearing Octavia with a sword, causing her to disappear, and Bellamy starts looking for her. Yeah, that's what happened. So Bellamy starts looking for her until he gets knocked out and dragged by a mysterious force. So meanwhile, that woman who we know is Hope Dioza's unborn future daughter, because the show has to bring in a future child of a main character ever since Monty's son. I don't know why they did this, but I guess it keeps the story going. And Octavia somehow knows her, but they get into that a little bit in the later of the season, how Octavia knows this woman, but yeah. So she freaks out, attacks him, and jumps out of there. And she gets a note on her arm that says, "Trust Bellamy." Who put that there? Was it her? Who knows? So meanwhile, at Sanctum, Clark and Lane are finally happy again. They have a house. They bury the flame, I think. Maddie gets a dog. And everything's happy. Clark, people just want Clark to talk about how she lost her mom, but Clark's like, yeah, that doesn't affect me. No way. That doesn't affect me at all. Clark is trying to play it off how her mom's death is unfazing to her. So meanwhile, they still have Russell. Yeah, they still have Russell in jail, and Russell and Monty why did I say Monty? Jordan keeps visiting him, and all Russell wants is to die. We even see a little bit of picture of Josephine as a young girl. Okay. So yeah, they see her as a young girl because okay. So meanwhile with Hope and the other people in Echo, they question her, and she's like, hey, she found a letter that says trust Bellamy, and she's like, trust Bellamy for what? She's like, I don't know. I need your guys' help to discover what's going on. So Russell meets Clark, and he gives her his mom's necklace. So what does she do? She beats the ever-loving crap out of him. Literally, she's literally knocking him for literally blunt, because he's the reason her mom died. So, but then Russell Mindspace, Shahir shows up. I guess he downloaded himself into Russell, I'm guessing, and he kills Russell's consciousness, and now he's now Russell. So now Shahida is now Russell. So I'm just gonna call him Shahida Russell for the rest of the review, because that's who he is. So Shahida Russell's like, hold up, Clark, don't kill me. So Clark's like, yo, we have to keep this villain alive for 16 episodes, so we're gonna move his execution up to tomorrow, because there's no queens, no kings, no palaces. We could just be people. I don't know why they don't kill him. I know it's just to keep him around for 16 episodes, so he can be the villain of the final season. But why? Why? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. So in the second episode, we see Octavia, and this is like her after she went into the portal the first time, and she goes to a shack where she sees Diyoza, and Diyoza is giving birth because Diyoza is giving birth, apparently giving birth because Octavia says, hey, I just came in after you, and she's like, for you it's just been a minute, but for her it's been a whole month. So yeah, so she helps Diyoza take care of her baby, and now Octavia literally spends like 10 years watching over this child with Diyoza. Because literally they didn't have anything Octavia to do, so they literally said, hey Octavia, we want you in this flashback, take care of Diyoza's daughter. So Octavia just wants to get back out of there, but Diyoza's like, no way, you really want to abandon my daughter? Yeah, I don't get why Diyoza, I get it, you really want to leave her alone. So Octavia agrees to stay, but that night, some bad guys show up and abduct them, leaving a young Hope all by herself. So, meanwhile, Clark is trying to like keep the peace between the two factions of the group. But there are some people that want Russell Prime to die, and there's some people that want to save Russell Prime. I don't like call him Russell Prime. When I call him Russell Lightborn, but he is Shahid. But they don't know that he's now taken. They still think he's Russell. They have no idea that Shahida has taken over his body, because they still think they took care of Shahida at the end of season 6. But no, he's now in Russell because I don't know. They needed him to be in the story somehow, so why not? Rain magically have him download into Russell somehow, even though I don't get how. How did he download into Russell? They were trying to delete his code, and then it said upload complete. His code was able to somehow get into Russell, and he didn't think of killing him until just this moment. Why didn't he do it at the end of season 6? If he wanted to take over Russell, why didn't he? I guess he needed the gang. I guess I don't know. I don't know why he just chose now to take over Russell's body. It doesn't make any sense. Like if he was in Russell the entire time after season 6, then why did he chose after Clark beat up Russell to then take him over? It just doesn't make any sense of the imagination. Why now did Clark choose not to kill him? I don't get it. Okay. So yeah, again, episode 3, Clark is trying to keep the peace, again, as in the last video, between the two factions. But again, there are some people that are on Team Gabriel and some team that are not Gabriel, on Team Russell, who they don't know Shahida. So yeah, meanwhile, Maddie's just trying to be a normal kid. She gets into this romance with this kid. Again, I don't want Maddie in romances. This is a final season. I don't want her to get into a romance. It would be too late to get a character who appeared in season 5. At the end of season 5 to get a romance. It just doesn't work. She appeared in season 5 and she doesn't even get a casting credit. Like why doesn't Lola Flannery get a casting credit? Like, she's been there since season 5 and she doesn't even get like a craft. She's only in the special guest star role. She's been a main character since season 5. and she doesn't, and you don't even treat her as a main character. You don't even put her in the place where the main characters are. So you think like Gabriel's actor is a main character. Shelby Flanagan, who plays Hope, she's the main character. Shane Cook, who plays Jordan, he's the main character, but not Maddie. You don't think she's the main character? Wow. Wow, is that wow? I was not okay with that. And she's been there since season 5. And you know, I get in season 5 because we know her character, but this is season 7, and she's still out in the after credits. Why? She's been there since season 5, and and they didn't even give her a credit. I feel bad for Lola Flannery. I feel bad for her because, you know, one, she's been here since season 5, and they didn't even give her any, like, acknowledgement to her character, like Clark. She's like, in the credits. She's the first one in the starring. She's the first one you see as the credits roll. Then second comes Bob Marley, who plays Bellamy, and a bunch of other characters, but not Lola. She's in the special guest star credits after the opening credits. I'm sorry, so yeah. So meanwhile, Raven. So Raven and the others are trapped under the plate, and Raven must make the hard decision to kill one of them, to kill them all except for John Murphy, because it's John Murphy and he can't die because he's the main character. Plot armor, like John Murphy's protected by plot armor because Raven chooses to kill everyone in there except for John. Yeah, and Raven becomes overridden with guilt with the fact that she did that, and the wife of Hatch now wants to kill Raven because that's the storyline. After Raven tells her, she's like, "Ooh, Raven, now I want you to die." So that's a storyline for another. That's a storyline for another episode. Yeah, man. Then episode 4 starts with another flashback to Hope's past about how she and Octavia, she was all about how after her mom got out, she was left all alone by her after Octavia and her mom got kidnapped. But then this random dude just showed up and was like, "Yo, I'm here to help." So this random dude just shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm here to help." So she basically becomes one of her best friends and trains her, and we see her in her current attire as an adult. But then some people from his team decide to come and get him back. But he and Hope decide to fight until he's killed, and Hope goes on, and Hope kills them all as revenge for her, not lover. She was on for her friend. So meanwhile, Clark talks to Raven about. Meanwhile, in the present, Clark talks to Raven about the facts. Clark talks to Raven about the facts about what Raven did, but Raven's like, "Yo, no. Remember the facts," and Raven's like, "Yeah, no, I did a bad thing." So meanwhile, some guys show up, basically being like, "Hey, Clark, we need you. Join us, and you'll have your friends back. They're on a planet." But Clark's like, "Yeah, there's no way I believe you." And he's like, "Well, come see for yourself." But that's when Jordan realizes that they're gonna kill Clark. So Jordan basically kills all of the bad guys, and is like, "Hey, guy, these guys are really evil. Clark, you're their intended target." So So meanwhile, back with the other group. Meanwhile with Echo, Hope, Gabriel, and Hope, Echo, and Gabriel, and this guy that they think that destroyed. Yeah, they meet this guy named Orlando who is very crazy, and he destroys their only way back. So he basically reveals his life sentence timer. So he decides to train them, and it takes them 5 years. So now Echo's got a shortcut. So does Hope, with Hope dyed her hair blonde, and Gabriel, he looks completely the same. Yep, out of all the characters that they have changed, they kept Gabriel the exact same. He doesn't even grow his hair out. It's the exact same style before. Lazy that they literally gave the two other women hair changes, but not Gabriel. He looks exactly the same. Lazy. Lazy storytelling. Because Gabriel should have changed, at least. But no, he looks the exact same to before. So yeah, so some of his friends show up, and Echo realizes that this guy knows some of these people, so they chose to leave him behind and go to Bardo. It's later learned that the guy actually killed himself. Dark. So they get to Bardo, and they find Octavia, and it's later explained why that Hope showed. It's later explained that Hope showed up there the first time and found Octavia, and yeah. So they meet Colonel Anders, played by Neil McDonough, who's also all known for playing Damien Dark on Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. And he shows up and is like, "Hey guys, I serve my shepherd." And they're like, "Who the crap is the shepherd?" Yeah, the shepherd's like this leader of the disciples, and yeah, the leader of the disciples. So they find Deoza, and Deoza is pretty shocked that the daughter that she just left with at age 8 is now a 25-year-old woman. So I think she was 18 now. Is now a 25-year-old woman, and because Octavia was gay. So yeah. So meanwhile, in a flashback, we see Octavia getting like mind melted, but getting her mind assessed by this Levitt guy, who kind of becomes the best character for how many times he gets rehired after helping this group out. This dude really should be fired, but nope, he just keeps coming back. They keep rehiring him because I don't know why. This dude literally helps this gang out, and he literally his bosses do not fire him. So during the flashback, Hope reveals herself to Octavia. They get captured. This is how get captured. Octavia got spit out of the portal. Hope intentionally made Octavia disappear based on their plan. And yeah, that's why but Bellamy, why did he get floated? Yeah, speaking of Bellamy, Octavia actually runs into Bellamy as he's holding people captive. But then a bomb explodes, and boom, Bellamy is dead now. Yeah, right. Yes, this is the part of the show that makes Echo now believes that Bellamy is dead now, and now on a grief-stricken revenging thing. Yeah, she kills Levitt's successor, even though they said they need him. She just kills him because I don't know. I get it because she's all you guys killed Bellamy, so I want revenge. So Octavia calms Echo down, and Echo says, honest, they used to have these, like, they used to scar each other to make sure they wouldn't feel any pain and that their wounds were healed. So Octavia, so what's it? What is it? Echo scars herself, and it's like, hey guys, we're going to war. So meanwhile, Clark decides to go search for her friends with Nyla. Yeah, Nyla has been this character who slept with Clark once and kind of became part of the main cast. I don't know why. There are some episodes where she doesn't even appear, so why is she even, and no, she's actually related to the actor of John Murphy, Richard Harmon. Don't know why she decides to join, but she does. She just decides to join. They get captured by these big but they get captured. They realize that they're in the mouth of a monster, and Raven now wears the disciples' helmet like she's Iron Man. So yeah, so Clark and the gang are able to get there. The Shepherd, Andrews has awakened the Shepherd, and he's like, "Hey Clark, welcome to my gang." She's like, "Hey, we're my friends," and they unmask themselves. So we get a flashback to 3 months later when they were training and they're being tested. So they get tested with what you should do when. So in Echo's flashback, in Echo's simulation, Hope wants to destroy Bardo, but Echo kills her. And Octavia's flashback in Dream, she kills Echo too. But in Echo, Deoz is the one who wants to destroy Bardo, and she just lets it happen. She tries to stab at her, but she's like, "Is that the best you got?" And lets her destroy Bardo. So what happens is that Octavia and Echo pass, but Hope fails. So they're like, "Oh yeah." Throw her out. Yeah, they're like that. They're like, "Throw her out of here, guys." So what happens? So they're like, "Throw her out of here, guys." So yeah, but Octavia tells Echo says, "Hey, send her to back to Pence." So, but that was all bluff, and Octavia and Echo was like, "Yeah, there's no way I would ever throw you there." So they team up. So they team up, powering up to save the day. They power up to save the day like always. So meanwhile, Clark. So Clark's like, "What did you do to them?" And she's like, "Nothing happened to us, Clark. We're totally ready for the last war." And they're like, "Ready, sir? Ready. Let's get out of here." So Clark would have talked to Octavia, and she's like, "Yo, you totally faked that whole thing?" And she's like, "Of course I did." So yeah, she's like, "Of course I faked that whole thing, Clark. Why would I pretend to be evil?" So she pretends to be evil. So yeah. So meanwhile, back on the Sanctum. Russell reveals himself as Shahida, and is like, "I am in the control now," because he said now to reveal the truth, and he kills everyone except for he kills Nelson, and he kills everyone. So yeah, so one crew is looking for a member, but Indra forces Maddie to take up the Thorn chip, and everyone's like, "Octavia, Indra, what are you doing?" And Maddie has a panic attack and bolts out of there. So Indra decides that she will lead one crew. Some of the people aren't with it. So Indra has a battle against a guy named Knight, who is the one who has lost it, and now he serves her. Apparently, I do not know what's going on. So, so meanwhile, Bill says about how Clark remind if his daughter's still in there. And we get a flashback to when the first nuclear apocalypse hit, and we meet Callie, Bill's daughter. We meet Callie, or Calliope, I think. Calliope, I have no idea. I'm just gonna call her Callie. And this is when the first nuclear apocalypse happened, when Allie first launched the nuclear missiles into the world, and they stay under what we now call it's the Second Dome bunker. And yeah, the people are not happy, but Callie's able to keep the peace. So meanwhile, 2 years later, we see Becca as she came down to Earth, and this is when Callie and the others introduced, and Bill's all like, "Yo, hey, what's up?" So they're hanging out, but that's when a big white light shows up, and she gets transported in there. And we don't see what happens. All we see is that she comes out shivering, saying about how the Judgment Day is here, and Earth isn't ready for it. But Bill sees this as oh yeah, Judgment Day is coming. That means I have to be the bad guy now. So so they arrest Becca. So she explains to Callie about the flame, and she does Callie the first ever flame keeper from Keppa. So Becca won't listen to what they have to say, so they burn her at the stake, and she yells at them saying that he's lying, but she gets burned. Wow. Yep, the tunnel season's delving into some pretty interesting stuff. So Callie mad, and she gets stuff, and she indicts the first conclave, where she shoots her brother, but her mom intervenes, saying, "What are you doing?" But she takes the flame anyway. So the flame kept Callie totally tells that to come with her as her dad comes up, and he discovers that Callie has taken the flame. So yeah, Callie's taken the flame. So meanwhile, he decides to lock his wife in because Bill is evil. He decides to lock his wife in a safe vault so she can die because he's evil now. And we see Callie and the others just outside, and that's the last we see of this. It's never brought up again. Nyla does mention how Callie died, and even her enemies wept at her funeral, even her enemies cried at her funeral. But so Callie tricks Caddy into believing that Callie's still in the flame, and it's in her head. So they go along with this. So meanwhile, this guy is interviewing Bellamy's death, and he reveals that Bellamy's not dead. And has to literally tell the audience that Bellamy's not dead because it shows things we're not smart to figure this out for ourselves. So it's discovered that when Octavius said get down to Bellamy did get down and jumped through the portal. And this guy named Duche, I think his name is Duche, I have no idea, is following him. And they first get off to a rocky start. But they're going to become friends. So friends, in fact, that they're trying to get back up to Bardo. That Bellamy gets passed out. Bellamy gets passed out during the scene, and this guy saves him. Wow. Saves him. Wow. What a hole. Saves him. And So he's like, why did you do that? And he's like, well, you saved me, so I'm saving you now. So they, yeah, but Bellamy, so he teaches Bellamy how to connect with the shepherd. So Bellamy connects with the shepherd. And he's like, and he sees the shepherd, and the shepherd, and now the shepherd is 100% Team Bellamy. Now the shepherd, 100% Team Bellamy. So yeah, so Shepherd goes Bellamy to his mom, which looks like Abby but with a wig on. And it's not, but it looks like her. So she and Bellamy hug as she tells Bellamy to go into the light. And once he does, he sees that the storm has passed. The storm has passed. And yes, this makes Bellamy believe 100% in the shepherd. So when they see that the storm is going down, he and Bellamy jump into it. And back on Bardo, Bellamy 100% commits his loyalty to the shepherd. And when Clark gets reunited with him and tells him that the flame is that he's lying to the flame, Bellamy, what will Bellamy do? One, will he lie will he keep Clark's secret? Or B, will he tell Cagan the truth? He chooses B and tells Cagan that Clark doesn't really have the flame, because Bellamy is evil. So yeah. But meanwhile, back in Hope's storyline, but Anders was following. They were trying to. Echo, before they found out that Bellamy was alive, Echo wanted to destroy all of Bardo, but they don't talk her out of it. But then Hope kills Andrew, and as she's about to do it, Deoza sacrifices herself, and she takes Hope away, and she tells Hope that she did it so Hope wouldn't have to become just like her in the future, and Deoza turns to stone and dies. Wow. That's the end of Deoza. And Anders too. So yeah, but back in the present, which is now, Bellamy tells Cagan, which they gave Bellamy a haircut so he looks exactly like he did in season 1 to 2 Bellamy, which I don't get. Why does he look exactly the same? Go back to his previous look. Because hair and shave his beard, and he doesn't keep long hair. He just goes back to the old hair. I don't get it. So yeah. So Bellamy and Cagan talk, and Cagan's like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And he's like, so they talk. So Clark talks to Bellamy, and they talk to Echo and Raven, and he sends Echo down to MCAP, which is memory capture. And Echo is like, yo, Bellamy, this isn't you. And Bellamy keeps stating that he's just trying to do what he saves his friend, but he's being a major jerk about it. So yeah, so Echo's like, yeah, I dated you. I want the guy I fell in love with back. But Bellamy's like, yeah, there's no way he's coming back. Peace. So yeah. And meanwhile, Echo, Octavia, and Clark are talking when Bellamy comes through and takes Clark cap. And Octavia tries to say, hey, this isn't you, but she's like, it is now. So yeah, so Clark says about how she knows where the flame is and she can tell him where it is. So she takes him back to Sanctum, and he says that he sends the other gang somewhere else, which is not Sanctum. Yeah. Meanwhile, Gaia was meant to go on the mission with Clark, but she was kidnapped by some random person who we don't know who, and even the gang is questioning where she is. So meanwhile, back on Sanctum, we see. So after 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 Shea Hader revealed himself, Indra decided to just let him kill, and he's threatening to kill these people. What does Indra do? She decides to leave and let him kill all these people instead of going in and killing him herself because they need a villain. And Indra is just like, I should have killed you when I had a chance later. But then why didn't you do it? So meanwhile, they show up. They show up on Sanctum. Clark's like, what the crap is going on? John's like, it's hard to explain. He says, Gabriel's like, Russell? And he's like, that's not Russell. That's Shahida. And she's like, and then Raven's like, I guess now we know. Raven makes a joke about, I guess, now we know where he went after he was uploaded. That was good. So, yeah. So what happened what happened Gabriel starts having flashbacks of Josephine, and Josephine's like, yo, dude, we can totally be together if you just tell Kagan the truth. But as he's building the flame, he says that they need to do better, and destroys the flame. So they go. Shahid convinces Bellamy to give over the book, but Clark doesn't want him to, and even convinces him, saying, "Hey, her best friend wouldn't do something like this. Wouldn't do something like this. Her best friend wouldn't do something like this." And he's like, "Clark, I'm right. We can be better." But because he wouldn't listen to the reason, Clark shoots Bellamy in the heart. Wow, I guess that's the end of the Clark of me. I get why she did to protect Maddie. So they go, but they go back to the second ground bunker, and Kagan just leaves them there. Gaia finds a guy that sounds like Pedro Pascal for some reason, and he kills him. So Raven decides to use Clark says you Raven's helmet and destroys it. Everyone's pretty mad, but Clark's like, this is Earth, which is very inhabitable for some reason, even though at the end of season 5, Monty said it wasn't. But now here, it somehow is again. Monty said that he tried so many times, and Monty said in 125 years, the Earth wasn't inhabitable. But now Clark and the gang go back, and it's habitable again? Huh? When did that happen? The show should have explained why it's habitable again, when Monty said at the end of season 5 that it wasn't. He said he's tried for years and the Earth still hasn't changed. But now that Clark and the gang randomly come back, it just magically happens to change. That is magically dumb for the consistency of this episode. Because Monty said that it wasn't inhabitable, but now it is. And what happened to the wildlife? What happened to the two-headed deer that we saw in the beginning? No two-headed deer here. It would have been cool to see other animals that were changed to the radiation, but no, we only saw a two-headed deer, a butterfly, and a random mutant water animal. And then the show never brought any of those things back again. It would have been cool to see like what alligators look like due to radiation, or what birds do. But nope, just a two-headed deer, a butterfly, and a random shark water monster. That's how many monsters they could use for this episode. And all those things were either due in the pilot or other episodes in the first season. Yep, that's all they could create. It would have been cool in this episode if we saw other creatures, like what a bird looks like with radiation. Does it have 3 or 4 or 5 heads? Who knows? But the show never explains this. So yeah, meanwhile, Maddie's mad at Clark because literally they had her have tension, because Maddie's mad at Clark because she let them, because she had friends, and sanctum, and Clark literally made a decision against her life without her knowledge. So she's like, well, float you, Clark, and leaves. So meanwhile, Clark tells Echo and Octavia about how the fact that she had to kill Bellamy. But they forgive her because their Bellamy died years ago, and that was a new guy. That was a new Bellamy who they couldn't recognize. So Clark killing him doesn't get them mad, because Bellamy was already dead to them. So yeah, I thought we were gonna get some cool tension about how the fact that Echo had to lose her boyfriend twice, but no, she's just like, oh hey Clark, by the way, he was already dead, so it doesn't care if she killed him. But Clark kind of has. Yeah, so meanwhile, bad guys come. Shahida gets him. So Cadigan tells Shahida to get Maddie because for some reason his memories aren't good enough because they don't work anymore. What? Again, how? Okay, again, not to badmouth the show because this final season was really good, but. How does that even work? Like, he's been around longer than Maddie has been even. Yeah, so the fact that his memories do not work just doesn't make any sense. The fact is that he's been around longer than Maddie has been alive, but she's the only one that can give Cadigan what he wants. Like, this dude has knowledge of the flame because he's been around for years, but he doesn't have any good knowledge that'll give Cadigan what he wants. So he basically just sends Shahida to do the job. They discover it. They get captured. Shahida kidnaps Maddie and is like, actually Shahida attacks Gabriel, but Gabriel doesn't die until Shahida stabs him so many times that he does that. So he starts him with a throwing star, thinking that I thought I was gonna kill him, but then as he's grabbing man, Gabriel just grabs him and Shahida just goes stab, 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 and Maddie runs away. So, but Gabriel, so he's like, oh hey Maddie, I can either give you the easy way out, which are these pills, or I can just kill you. My way is the third option, cause he's evil. So Maddie runs away, and they're like, hey. But Maddie thinks of just, teleporting yourself to Cadigan. Clark's like, yeah, there's no way you're just gonna kill yourself. But she takes the teleporting knife and does it anyway. So in the finale, apparently, in the series finale, Clark and the gang are wondering what happened to Maddie, if she's getting tortured or anything. Levitt, Octavia's boyfriend, who the disciples keep hiding back, even though he keeps betraying them. Yes, he keeps choosing Clark's side over them, but he keeps getting hired. I don't know how that works. So he decides to have Clark and the others. They take the pill, they teleport over there, but they end up in the battlefield against against the disciples, but they're able to get captured, so they're thrown in jail next to Shahida because he didn't complete his job. Now he came on an inflation, which was supposed to be the plan. So he was thrown in jail. So Clark makes a deal with him that says he'll use the distraction so he can get Maddie. But when Clark gets there, Maddie's unresponsive because Levitt reveals that they got the information from her and it hurt so much that it literally shut down Maddie's brain. So Maddie is there, but she cannot move or do anything. She's literally brain dead. So Octavia is about to shoot her, but then Levitt's like, yo Clark, he got the code. So Clark's like, it's busting time. So Clark goes in a Rainbow Terminator and shoots all them down. And Shahida just is gone because, yep, that's what he is. So yeah. So they discovered the white light that Becca discovered in the flashback, and it's revealed that it's just this judge that takes the form of and the person they talked for Cadigan, it's his daughter Callie. But as Cadigan talking to the judge, Clark comes in and boom, kills him. So she's like, pencils down. So she talks to the judge in the form of Lexa. Okay, not from her mom or not from her dad, but no, her girlfriend. She talks in front of Lexa, and Lexa's like, yo Clark, you literally just killed a guy as he's taking a test. So you get an F. Because of what you did, it proves that humanity isn't worth saving. So see ya. Boom. Yeah. So then Raven. So the ball of white turns into an angry red as Raven goes in and she's presented on the arc, and the judge takes the form of Abby. Like, nope, not Finn, not her boyfriend who literally disappeared, but Abby, her mentor. I thought it would have been Finn. It would have been cool to get him back on the show, but nope, Abby, because I don't know. I don't know why it was Abby. Like it would have been interesting. Like, it would have been cool if they got Abby for Clark, but nope, they got her for Raven because for some reason they have a mentorship. So for Raven's so the judge shows Raven that takes her to the battlefield. It's like, hey Raven, these people are about to go to war. So it shows that humanity will always go to war. Yeah. So first Clark was like, oh yeah, you don't get to test my decisions. Yeah, but that's when Levitt's like, yo guys, we don't need to do this. But then Shea is like in the background, it's like, oh yeah, we do, and shoots Levitt, boom, shooting him and dying. So Octavia's like, hey guys, this was wrong. This is what because of Bellamy's belief in all this is what got him killed. So I don't want to prove he was right, but we have to stop fighting. And this is what causes everyone to, and even she lays down her sword, Indra lays down her sword, and everyone gets out of there. So that's when she goes back to Levitt and Echo, who was injured in the fight. But that's when they start glowing gold and they transcend. So meanwhile back in the bunker there was a cave in due to a bomb, and Amori was hit. So Amori dies, and John decides to put his body in Amori so they both can live together, knowing that they'll both die because of the both conscious thing. But then as they're living together, they get transported, they get transcended, Indra gets transcended, everyone gets transcended, except for Clark. Because Clark failed, so she gets nothing. So Clark's like, everybody? And the dog, Maddie's dog is the only one that didn't get transcended because it's a dog. Yeah, even Maddie gets transcended. First she doesn't, but then she does. So then Alexa shows up and be like, hey Clark, your friends chose to stay behind except for Maddie because Maddie. So Clark, everyone in Clark's friends chose that they'd rather, because Clark thought she was gonna live on the earth alone, but that's when her friends chose to rather live with her than let her live alone. Except for Maddie, because Maddie chose that she'd rather be a ball of light and not die or experience and not die and have love or age or anything, because she knew Clark wouldn't want that for her. So Maddie literally abandons Clark because the show had to bring in that emotional thing of saying, oh yeah, I guess Maddie was the only one that chose not to be around with Clark. So Levitt's with Octavia, Echo's by herself, Hope and Jordan are dating because at the end of these episodes they were kind of slowly hinting towards a romance between the two. So now kind of they get together, and Clark and her friends go on as we see I think we see a footage of Clark from the pilot as the series ends. And wow, was this a great series. And wow, was this a great season. And wow, So yeah, it's kind of weird that I guess Maddie basically just abandoned her mom. Maddie just lost her second mom. She always said about how she lost her first mom to the death wave, and now she chooses to abandon Clark again, her second mom, because I guess they wanted to have a character. Yeah, because she knew Clark would want that for her to so she wouldn't have any person her own age to love. That's literally what the show said. Maddie chose to stay transcendent so she wouldn't age or die or have anyone her own age to love. That's the reasoning for why she literally just chose to abandon Clark. Not abandon Clark. She literally chose to leave Clark just with her friend. No daughter that she literally chose to protect. But Clark understands. Which is okay. That Clark understands. But anyway, that was it for this video, and we'll see you next time for the next show we're about to next show I'm gonna recap. Probably gonna be Supernatural. I don't know, but that was it. But this was a great series to watch and that was a great series to watch and react to, watch, review, and recap to. But anyway, I'll see you next time when we review Supernatural. I think. Ooh, Supernatural. I never listened to that show. We're gonna be in a long ride for that one. 15 seasons. Long ride. Yosh. See ya.